Living with neuropathy can feel overwhelming, but real relief may be closer than you think. Dr. Chad Weber from Regenerative Neuropathy and his patient Linda shared how he changed her life. With us today is Dr. Chad Weber from Regenerative Neuropathy, the St. Louis neuropathy experts, and a very happy patient of his, Linda. Welcome to Show Me St. Louis.
Thanks for having us.
Well, what a joy, and it really is a very happy patient. But first, before we get into a little bit of your story, Linda, Dr. Weber, I would love for you to tell us what neuropathy is.
So neuropathy is unfortunately become a very common problem. It's basically neurological damage that's created by poor circulation to the nerves. So a lot of patients suffer from numbness and tingling and pins and needles, hot and cold burning sensations, and ultimately, unfortunately, it starts affecting their balance. And that's when people tend to get really afraid because they start falling down, they can't walk straight, they become dependent on canes and walkers, and unfortunately wheelchairs. So it's a very debilitating condition that's affected 40+ million Americans.
Yeah, wow. So people might not even realize that. What is it then about Linda's story that stands out so much?
Well, about Linda's, one of the things we hear all the time is that, she's been through all the same things, right? You went to however many doctors and had been given gabapentin and all these things without getting any improvement and actually just getting worse. But what's been really remarkable is how quickly she responded. So 4 months ago, she could barely stand up and barely function and walk and falling down in her garden, right?
Wow.
And then, here we are 3 or so months later, and her balance is back, her symptoms are improving, and, she's killing it, which is great.
Wow, so that's interesting. Neuropathy can be reversed.
It can be reversed if you catch it early enough. That's one of the biggest things we tell patients all the time. Like, the longer you wait, the worse this gets. And unfortunately, like cancers, unfortunately, we know too much about. If you get like stage 4 cancer, what are your outcomes looking like?
Yeah.
So that's the thing about neuropathy. If you catch it early enough and commit, because she did commit to the process, right? And do what needs to be done, you can turn this thing around.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, so Linda, I would love for you then to share, where were you in terms of what you saw happening with yourself and how you connected with Dr. Weber?
We went to a seminar that we had seen, a breakfast seminar at Eckerd's, and my husband took me, and we sat there and filled this little form out. By the end of his presentation, my husband said, "Well, this would help me too." So we just jumped. Monday, the following week, we went in, saw him. He offered us a get well plan, and we jumped on it, and we have just been ecstatic. I mean, you couldn't have got any better, I don't think. I can feel my feet. I don't fall down.
Yeah.
I have not fallen down for 3 months.
Wow.
This is awesome.
And I fell down 3 or 4 times a week, because in the garden, you're always trying to step up over something.
Yes.
And then you fall down. And after a while, that gets kind of hurtful.
No kidding, no kidding.
But I don't have a balance problem anymore. He knows what he's doing, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a happy patient.
It's awesome. It's amazing to see what can happen if patients commit to a process,
right?
And actually invest in themselves and listen. And not dependent on the pills and just watching themselves continuously get worse and worse.
Right. So Linda, then what would you want to say to someone who has doubts about making time to see Dr. Weber?
Well, if you have not reached out and tried to find help with what you've got, he can help you, and don't live the rest of your life not being able to walk. And it's not fun to get old, but we don't need the extra.
Right, the extra obstacles,
either.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
No, that's wonderful. And Dr. Weber, then what's the best way for people who are interested to connect with you?
Yeah, it's like Linda said, we've been doing these seminars the last couple months. It's become super popular. So we have one coming in a couple weeks, and so people can come out, they get a free breakfast. It's at Eckerd's, which most people in St. Louis area know where that's at. And then so it's opportunity. It's about an hour and a half. You can come out and get your questions answered. We go through a presentation. There's a Q&A session after the fact. You also get a copy of our book to give you some more education you can read at home, and get an opportunity to come into the office, get an examination done, and see where you stand. Right? And then we can put together a game plan for you and walk you through this process so you can get yourself back on track.
Yeah, I love that approach, that it's just very open, welcoming, no pressure. You could come, learn
100%.
more, enjoy a free breakfast, and receive a book.
Yep.
I mean, that sounds like a good deal to me.
Pretty awesome.
Amazing. Well, thank you both so much for joining us today. And for Linda, for all of your happy success.
Thank you. I'm I'm happy.
You could find her back in the garden, is what it sounds like. Again, if you are interested in attending this seminar, please call 618-206-1011 to reserve your spot. Free breakfast, a copy of Dr. Weber's book, The Regenerative Effect, too. So please call now. That's 618-206-1011.